Today we're going over my top 5 tips to help you get better at top lane so you can start carrying your solo queue games. Let's get into it. So guys, these are going to be the 5 tips. First, we're going to talk about champion mastery and why it's important. We're going to go over CSing, my tips on how to CS better, how to practice CSing. We're going to talk about aggression pacing inside the game, go over our level up timers, and talk about TP usage in the early and mid parts of the game. Champion mastery is one of the foundational parts of League as a whole, but especially in top lane where there's a lot of abusive counter picks. Things like ranged top laners into tanks, certain bruiser matchups can be really one-sided. Understanding how to play in those hard matchups though will free up your mental stack in the game to focus on other aspects, like tracking the enemy jungler, knowing your win con, playing to your strength in the game. So being able to minimize in those games is very important. We're going to use Cassante as an example. Cassante, some of his hardest matchups are going to be those ranged top laners that you can't get onto, like, Quinn, Vayne, Swain. Some bruisers that are huge neutralizers into him, like Camille and Riven. But these matchups, it's not that they are unplayable, but that you need to be able to minimize in these situations so that you can still have impact in the game. So how do we gain champion mastery? To me, it comes down to 3 things that you have to be willing to do, and they're all tied together. The first is stick to a small champion pool so you can refine your understanding of the good lanes, the bad lanes, and the champion mastery overall, and this will allow you to play all different types of games with that champ. The second one is you have to be willing to play your hard lanes. When you get counterpicked, when you're in tough situations, when you're down 0-2, you can't check out of the game. You have to stay in it mentally so that you can understand how to come back in losing games and how to minimize in the counter matchups. And the third one is you have to be willing to limit test. If you get early leads in those hard lanes, try to push the advantage. Understand where you can draw the line on what your champion can or can't do, and this will allow you to tone it back a little bit. The only way to understand our champion fully and to gain full champion mastery is to push as hard as we can and then reel it back, not the other way around. So let's talk about last hitting. I'm going to let this clip run of me practicing last hitting in practice tool with a champion like Syndra because I don't really play Syndra, and it's just an easy champ that I think I could use to explain kind of what I'm doing here. So if I was a person trying to learn a new champ and trying to understand how to practice last hitting, I would go into practice tool and I would go with that champion, no items, no abilities, and I would last hit minions. I would do this, for 10 minutes at a time. And I hadn't done this in a while because I haven't really tried to learn a new champion this way. But even in this one instance, it was actually very helpful. I think I finished with 93 out of 101 after 10 minutes, which is okay. I mean, for me, it's obviously pretty good. For most people, if you're hitting somewhere between that 70 to 80 mark, it'll be kind of uncomfortable not using your abilities, not having any items to last hit, and just using pure auto attack. Obviously, with a champion with higher base AD, it would be easier. Syndra's a very hard champion to do this with, but this is a great way to get better at CSing. This is the first thing I would do. Why is CSing so important? Right, is what you're going to ask me. CS is the #1 priority for gaining gold and experience in the game. It's more valuable than getting towers, it's more valuable than getting kills, it's more valuable than even some objectives depending on the situation. If you're a champion in the game that needs gold, that needs experience, that needs to be strong, you need to be able to CS. That's why it's important. That's why going to the practice tool is very helpful. And another thing to understand about farming in the game, and farming in lane especially, is that sometimes when you're laning, people can get really over-indexed into trying to kill their lane opponents. But it's important to note that a low enemy champ sometimes is more valuable than a dead one. Let's say I know somebody has no TP, and I know that they're 20% HP and I'm 80% after a trade. If I can keep them what we would call lane locked, meaning I can keep pushing waves or I can keep them in lane, and I can just keep farming as a scaling champ, that to me might be more valuable than killing them, sending them back to base, and them coming back with like full HP, getting to spend whatever gold they have. That is a part of the game that's a little bit more nuanced, but it's a way to understand why CSing is so important and why it is the #1 priority for gold and experience in the game. So let's talk about aggression pacing now and understand what the hell that even is. So to me, when I talk about pacing our aggression, I'm talking about ramping up the aggression and then scaling it down depending on what happens. So for me, I'd rather play too aggressive, fuck up, die, make a mistake, and understand, okay, that was too much, I have to tone it down, rather than be passive the whole time and try to ramp up how aggressive I can be in the game. So to me, I'm going to show you guys 2 examples. This first one, I'm a 2-3 Jace, I spot Udyr bot, I see that no one is up here to help this Yone on the push, so I'm going to rip my TP. If he backs off and I don't kill him, fine. If I TP here and die, fine. But here, I'm gambling on the idea that I think I can kill this guy. So I TP back, I chase him down, and I end up killing him. This to me is an example of ramping up the aggression depending on the situation. So here, we're going to kill him, whatever. This is one example. Let's go to the next one. So example 2, I'm a 3-3 Jace, I'm stronger than this Yone, I see Nautilus mid, my team is bot side, and I don't know where Udyr is. I'm going to start looking for short trades on this Yone, see if I can soften him up for an all-in. See Rumble mid, lost vision of Nautilus, so I'm going to start trading. Ramping up the aggression a little bit. I find a really good trade, he oversteps, proc my Eclipse once, bang. Team gets notified we did Dragon, so Yone knows my jungler is bot side. I look for another trade. Bang, get into 1 HP. I see the grubs are dead, flash auto kill instantly. To me at this point, even if Udyr comes, I think I could probably either kill him or live, but I was willing to ramp up the aggression there to see if I could squeeze in a kill before the enemy jungler showed on my side. So you're thinking, how do I even know when to ramp up my aggression? Let's keep it super fucking simple. If our jungler's on our side, we can ramp it up. If our jungler's on the opposite side, we can ramp it down. If we know both junglers' position, and let's say they're both on the opposite side or they're both on the same side, then we do it case by case. Are we stronger than the enemy opponent? Do they not have sums? Things like that. But that is a super simple way to understand when and when not you can ramp up your aggression. Obviously, I showed you 2 examples of me gambling a little bit, but in order to simplify it, we can do it in this way. This will help you start learning, the tiny details of when and when not you can play more aggressive in your lane. And then as you gain more champion mastery, as we gain more knowledge, then we can start pushing the limit more, and then we scale it back down. Then we push it, then we scale it back down. Never do it the other way. Now we're going to talk about level up timers. I have a few clips to show you guys, but first we need to go over a few key things. We have to first understand that level up differences are some of the biggest disparities in the game. A level on average is worth somewhere between 500 to 600 gold worth of stats, and level ups into certain abilities, getting 2nd point in your main ability, 3rd point in your main ability, getting level 6 and getting your ult, getting level 7 and getting that 4th point in your main ability. Those are some of the biggest level up timer advantages you can find over your opponent, and some of the biggest discrepancies that we want to abuse. So when we can abuse a level up timer, we want to look to do it properly. So I've got 3 clips, let's go over them one after the other. I'm level 5 Camille, I'm hitting level 6 on this wave, and I've got Garen to about a quarter health. I know that on my level 6 timer, I can probably kill him if I can dodge this tower shot. So what am I going to do? I'm going to walk up, I'm going to try to bait him to Q me to get his silence out, and I'm going to look to abuse the level 6. So I auto, Q, alt to dodge a tower shot, E away, perfect abuse of a level up timer. Let's go next clip. Or Jax, level 3 to 4 against Trundle. Technically, he is stronger than me right now, but in an all-in, especially with lethal tempo, I can kill him as long as we're matching level. So I'm going to walk up on the wave, I'm going to pressure this Trundle to fight me, start stacking my passive, get my lethal tempo going. I'm going to E his next Q, and we're going to look for the all-in. Puts his pillar down, I'm going to start fighting him, save my Q for the leap. And even though I didn't have a level advantage over him, I was able to bait him in, understanding that I was stronger on same level up timer. Clip number 2 of Jax. This is going to be a long one. So I'm level 8 to 7. We have our level up discrepancy like we're talking about, and I'm stronger than this Trundle. So I want to look to try to fight him. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to freeze the wave and try to fight the Trundle. I'm going to keep jumping on him. I get a good chunk, and now I'm going to look for the all-in. He's going to pillar. I flash. I cancel an auto. Don't get my auto W off. And then I Q auto, and he doesn't die because I canceled the auto. I still am in a good spot, though, up a level. So I'm going to come back top, and I'm going to try to freeze the wave. So I come back top. I start freezing, and now I'm going to put it into a slow push. Trundle starts TPing back, and right at this moment, if you look at my XP bar, I notice I'm actually really close to level 9. I'm already 1 level up, so we're on what? 5 to 600 up on him. I've already killed him once. I'm up probably 600 to 1,000 gold in my items spent. If I get 1 more level, I could be 2,000 gold up on this guy in this fight. So what do? I start bashing this wave in. I'm trying to hit it as fast as I can. I get my passive fully stacked, and on the melee, bang, I'm level 9. He comes in, pop my E, start all-inning him. Pop my ult, get another W off, and just with the skin of my teeth, we kill him. That is a great example of an abuse of a level up timer. I get not only my 1 level up that I was up on him, I get the bonus level on the wave as he's TPing in, plus all the items spent in my inventory. Even though I didn't have what would look on paper as a huge gold lead, that all in, I was up around 2,000 gold on him. And the last thing I want to talk about is TP usage, especially in the mid to later parts of the game. When it comes to laning, using TP after a heavy trade to come back to lane is always good. Using TP to lane lock somebody, if they've already TP'd, you can heavy trade, TP back, keep them in lane on lower HP is always good. When it comes to the mid and late part of the game, people are not using their TP enough, in my opinion. Even if they see the end result, it being nothing too crazy, I still think people are underutilizing how much they use TP in the later parts of the game. So I'm going to show you guys an example of me using TP in a late stage part of the game and why I did it. So let's go over it first. Enemy bot lane is dead, Ashe and MF are both dead bot lane. I have now pushed a wave aggressively top lane, Dragon is spawning in 10 seconds, and my team wants to pressure this drag. So look what happens. My bot lane is going to get mid push, my jungler is already walking to drag, and my Ahri is basically going to deploy on the map right after catching this wave. So if the enemy is going to come, try to contest us late, I want to be here early for the setup, just on the off chance the enemy will come here. So I TP right away, my bot lane comes, my mid laner moves over, and we get the drag for pretty much free. The thing that people will see from this is be like, oh, you TP'd and nothing happened, right? You TP'd, you guys get the drag, whatever, nothing big happens. But the point is being on tempo with your team. Making sure that you TP early can usually be better than TPing late to the fight, especially with the TP changes with the longer channel time, or travel time, I mean. That's just something to keep in mind about TP usage later in the game. Don't be afraid to use it early. Don't be afraid to be there for the early setup, for the early pressure, as opposed to TPing too late into the fight. Alright guys, so those are my 5 most important tips for top laners trying to learn top lane, get better at top lane. Some of these tips could work for the other lanes, obviously like the CSing one, or maybe using TP for mid laners as well. But that's alright, you know, we do a little bit of sharing and caring around here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, I hope the tips are helpful, and I hope you guys go dominate your solo queue games. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.